Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is episode 12 of our JavaScript beginners class. So, in our last class, we looked at logic, we looked at array. So, today we'll be looking at object. So, object is a bit like array. Okay. So, remember when we did array, we said array is an ordered list of values. Array can have number, string, Boolean, and any other data type in it. Then object is another data type that is close to an array. Okay. So we're going to see how it's been done. They say objects are data types that let us store collection of properties and methods. An object in JavaScript is quite similar to an array. It is a data type which stores lots of values. These values can be any data type: numbers, strings, booleans, functions, and even arrays and objects. So what this is simply saying is that an object also looks like an array because they both store data. And array objects can store numbers, it can store strings, booleans, a lot like that. Objects can even store objects, so we can have a nested object. But the difference between an array and an object is how the values are referenced. In an array, you reference a value with a number, its position in the array, i.e. its index, while we reference a value for an object by its name instead of a number. Okay, so throughout this course, we'll be looking at object literal. So it said an object literal is an object that is created directly in the language by wrapping all its properties and methods in curly braces and stored in a variable. So this is how you create an object literal. Okay. So we have what the key value pair. I'm going to show you all that. So let's go into our VS Code to get this done. So let me link these files together. Script. So the name of the file is script.js. So go to script.js. Let's check if this is all connected or well linked. I'll refresh. Okay, they already showed. So I can remove it. That is well linked. Now let's get started with our object. With our object. So simply this is what an object literal. So we can say, okay, so this is an object now. You look at how we created this. We said const person. Remember when we use const? I hope you still remember. Okay, so const person equals, remember, in array you use square. In an array, if it's array, we use what? Square bracket. Okay, but in objects, using object literal, we use curly brace. You can see, take note of this curly brace. All right. Then we said the first, I can say first name because we've been using underscore. So I want us to stick with that. So in an object, if it's an array, we're going to have something like this: const person. We're going to have something like this. We have John. We have Joe. And we're going to have 30. So you can see that const person, we have John Doe 30. So this is an array. This is an object. The object looks more descriptive than the array. Okay, so I want you to compare both. That's why I'm putting this there. Compare this object and this array. For the object, you are using curly braces. For array, we are using square brackets. And for objects here, we have a key and we have a value. But for array, we don't have any key value pair. We only have an ordered list, which is being accessed by an index number, which starts from 0. Okay, so I hope you will know the difference between the two now. Then let's move on. So this, it's a key value pair. The one on your left is a key. The one on the right is the value. The one on your left is the key. The one on the right is the value. So this is what a key value pair. So first name is what? John. Last name is Doe. Age is 30. So now we'll look at how can we even access this object. So I can say console.log adder. So for me to get this, it's quite simple. You are going to call the name of the object, which is person. Then if you want to get the first name, you say person.first name is going to give you John. Person.last name is going to give you Doe. Person.age is going to give you 30. So that's how to access the object. And there's another way of accessing it. I'll show you, but let's check this out. I'll refresh, go to our inspect. What do we have? We have John, we have Doe, and we have 30. Another way to access object properties. Okay, so we have it like this too. So instead of doing dot first name dot last name, we can also put inside a bracket, a square bracket. Then say the first name will appear there, the last name will appear inside, the age will also appear there. So you can either use this first one or use this second one, but most times people prefer using the first one, the dot notation. Okay, so refresh. You can see we got the same result. John Doe 30, John Doe 30. So you can choose any of these two, any one you prefer to use. Okay. So you can see we'll be able to store string, we'll be able to store a number. What else can we store? Let's store a boolean. Let's say about a person, boolean. Okay, I can say married. True. That's a boolean. You can see I've added what? A boolean to it. I can also add an array to it. Make sure that after each statement, what I call statement is after the key value pair, okay, you must always put a comma, else it's going to throw up an error. So you can see when I put married too, I put a comma. Then the next one, I want to have an array. I can say cars. Okay, this person has an array of cars. Okay, this person, his first name is John, his last name is Doe, his age is 30, he's married too, his cars, he has 3 cars, that's a Ford, BMW, and Fiat. Okay, so we can check that out. To refresh, you can see it listed everything. John Doe 32, then the cars, Ford, BMW, Fiat. Okay, so now let's say I can have the same thing here too. Cars. Okay, so if I want to know how many cars does he have, okay, let me even put it down here. If I want to say the number of cars he has, I can say console.log. I can write a statement here. Let me use the backtick. I can say okay, that's a bit long. John Doe is 30 years old and is married. I don't want to use this time so that you guys don't get confused. Let me Okay, I can still leave it here in case you want to play around with it. John Doe is 30 years old and is married. That's true. If it's true, let me just bring this out. We've done if statement before. Okay, I can bring this out here. I can create a variable outside. I can say const uh, married. I can say const married. If person dot married is true, it should what? It should put married here. Else put not married. Okay. So John Doe is 30 years old and he is married. He owns the following cars. So remember some of the array methods that I told you to go and learn. So you learn how to use this join. Person dot cars, because this is an array, so it's saying person dot cars, the cars is an array. So join is going to list out all these things out. It's going to list all these things out. So refresh. We have John Doe is 30 years old and is married. He owns the following cars: Ford, BMW, Fiat. I can change this one to not married. I'll just simply come here. I'll change this to false. So once I change it to false, it will say not married. So let's refresh. You can see John Doe is 30 years old and is not married. He owns the following cars. Okay. So a quick one. If you are watching this video, I want you to tell me how many cars does he have. Okay, let me just do it. So if I want to check the number of cars he has, I can just say console.log. I'm not writing much. I will just say to get the number of cars. Remember, in array, we've done this before in array, but I'm just trying to combine array and objects together. So I can simply say person dot cars dot length. So it's going to give me what the number of cars there. So refresh. You can see the number of cars we have what 3. So that's it. So make sure you understand how to use all these things. It's quite important. Okay. So what else do we have here? We've done a lot here. The key value pair, stuff like that. Okay. And we said, we can also have an object inside an object. So let's start and have an object inside an object. We can say, no, not you do. What example can we make? That's going to give us key value pair. Okay, we can say children. Children. Yes. Children, you can say children. Michael, children will have a son, which is Michael, daughter, Emily. Okay. So you can say, if you want to access this, you can simply go person.children, person.children, or refresh, or have that. Person.children. You can see we have the list here. Daughter, Emily, son, Michael. But if I want to show only the son, I can say children, person.children. Let me even do it here. I'll copy this. I can simply say, I can simply say person.children.son. So it's going to show us what? Only Michael here. And if I want the daughter, I can say person.children.daughter. and we're going to have what Michael, and we have what Emily. That's it. Quite simple, isn't it? Okay, so the next thing we can look at is, let's look at how to change the values. Okay, or let's say adding properties to the object. So instead of me going inside this place to add more, I can simply add more outside of it. So now let's say I want to know the gender of this person. I want to add the gender of the person. I can say person dot gender. It is simply add it to it. Okay. So refresh. That's male. Yeah. So I can also say I want to change the properties. Changing existing properties. So like now we said the age here is what 30. I can simply come here and say let me change the age to 31. What I'll do is I'll call the name of the object, which is what person. Then I will say dot age, which is going to give me 30. That's what person dot age. So the new age will be 31. The old age was 30. The new age is 31. So that's how to change existing property. We can also delete properties from the object. So I can simply say what delete person dot married. So once you delete it, it will become undefined. Okay. So that's simply that. Let's move on. We can look at object destructuring. Remember array destructuring? We did destructuring in array. So you've forgotten how to destructure in array. Go and check our array class. Okay, so let's look at how to destructure in destructure. How to use object destructuring. Um, let's get that done. Object destructuring. Okay, so the object destructuring. This is quite simple. The person is what we are trying to destructure an object. So the value at the right side must be an object. So this person here is an object which we've created at the top here, person. Okay. Then we've destructured it. That means what do we want from this person? We can say, okay, we want first name, last name, age, cars. So simple, very simple like that. Come here, you refresh. We have it. We've destructured it. So it gave us what? John Doe 31. You can see because the new age is 31. Remember when we changed it here? Person.age, which is now 31. Then list of cars, we have that. What else? If you want to destructure and get something else, let's say I want to get the children. I can simply add here children. So you check it out. You can see we have about the children also. So that's how to destructure. It's quite simple. We have nested destructuring. I'll leave you to that. You can just play around with that yourself. I just want to teach you the basic ones for you to know. So once you understand how this works, others are going to be quite easy. I think we did nested destructuring in array too. Okay, you can pause the video, look at this, then play around with it. Okay. So the other types of objects, we have math objects. So the math object has several properties that represent mathematical constants and methods. All the properties and methods of the math object are immutable and unchanged and unable to be changed. So all these constants, you cannot change them, just as we have them in mathematics and physics and any other science subject. Pi is always uh 3.142 and stuff like that. Is that 20 over 7 or something like that? Okay, we have math dot pi, we have math dot square root 2, math dot e, and stuff like that. These values do not change. So you can look at some of them here. Uh, mm, Object, constant. We can say console.log. I can say math.py. Okay, that's constant. You can't change it. We also have other ones. Console.log, math.e. So you just check all these things out. You can even Google them. You just type math object properties, or constant rather. So you can see 3.142, 2 points. Have a lot of them like that. So we have them, math.log2e, stuff like that. So let's look at other ones, mathematical operation or methods. The operators, we have math.floor, math.ram, math. These operators are very, very, very important. I think I'll make sure we look at them. Let's even look at them one by one. We'll start with math.floor. The math.floor method will round the number down to the next integer or remain the same if it's already an integer. So math.floor, let's look at what we did here. You can see this math constant, math.py, 3.1415. So you won't be writing this in your book, right? So you might want to reduce the numbers after the decimal point. So these are the operators you are going to need, or methods you are going to need to achieve that. So let's start with math.floor. Let's see what math.floor is going to give us. We call it operation. So we'll start with okay, this square root say okay, I'm not starting. I say let's start with console.log. Let's start with this guy. What's this guy? Math.floor rather. Math.floor. Okay. So for the math.floor, we're going to use math.py. So instead of me typing math.py all the time, I can simply do this. I can say const pi equals math.py. Okay. So I'll just keep on using pi here. Pi. So let's see, what is it going to give us when you floor it? Refresh. And see, it gave us 3. Let me do something. Let me add a back tick here. That's floor of pi. Okay. So floor of pi, refresh. We have the floor of pi give us 3. That means when you use math.floor, it's going to ignore every other thing after the decimal point. So what's the next thing? We have a math.round. Let's look at the other one. Okay, we have seal, we have round. Let me just put everything at once. Let's just check everything once. Okay. power. Right. Okay, so let's look at this. The math.floor. When you use seal, that's math.seal. What is it going to do? What is it going to give us? Refresh. The seal, because we're using 3 points. Let me drag this up. Oh, it's not okay. Okay, you can see we're using 3.14. When you use C, what it's going to do is it's just going to increment this. So it changes to 4 when you use C. When you use round, it rounds everything up to 3. But if it's something like 2.7, it's going to change it to 3. If this was 2.5, it's going to make it 4. Okay. Square root of 16 gave us 4. Absolute value of minus 5. Yeah, if you've done maths before, physics, you understand absolute value. So whenever I use this absolute method, maths.apps is going to change any negative sign to positive sign. So then power, the 2 raised to the power of 3, that's math.power, 2 raised to the power of 3, that's 2 times 2 times 2, that should give us 8. So we have that here, 2 times 2 times 2, that gives us 8. So these things are very powerful. Just play around with it. Yeah. Then maybe I've done that for pi. You can also do math.e, so you can compare how does this thing work. Okay, just play around with all these things. You have math.maximum, it's going to return the maximum number. Math.min is going to return the minimum. So maybe let's play with that also. Console.log. Okay, we have random number. There are a lot of these things. Which one? I was thinking of doing something now. Okay, math.max. Wow. And math.max. The maximum value is 5. You're going to output 5. The maximum number of, the minimum of this is what? 1. So it's going to give us 1. It's very, very straightforward. So just play around with all these things. Very, very interesting. So let's move on to other part, date object. This date object is very, very, very useful. I remember when I was building an hotel management app that you needed a calendar. This thing came very handy. Understanding how to use the date object, it's very, very important to know. So we'll just do something very little here, then I'll leave you to the rest. The more research you do, the more you know. Okay, so let's look at the date object. Date objects hold information about dates and time. A constructor function is used to create a new date object using the new operator, get to this time. So to get to this time, just use this value, this constructor, new date. If an argument is not supplied, the date will default to the current date and time. The parameter provided. Yeah. So you can also combine this date object and time function to do a countdown. You can use it to do a countdown timer. Maybe that's going to be part of our project, to do a countdown timer using JavaScript. Okay, so let's move on. It's going to give you the year, month, day, hour, minute, seconds, milliseconds. Getting methods, you have the get date. This is just to find the day of the week. Instead of talking too much, let's just do it once and for all. So, date object. Okay, so we want to get the current date. Current date and time. You can get okay. So when you get started, the current date, your new date. is going to give us what? The current date and time. We want to get the year, get full year method. You just say current date dot get full year. Current month, current date dot get month. Do you know why this is plus one? I will explain later. Current day, it's going to get the current day. I will explain that. But let's check. What do we have here? Refresh. You can see the current date and time. It gives us all this story. Current year 2020, current month 7, current date 12. Okay. So do you know why plus one was added to this? Because when you use the get month, it starts counting from 0. So January will be 0. So it's because it's more like an array. You get that? It's more like an array. So January will be 0, February will be 1, March will be 2. So for you to get the exact value, now we are in July, right? So July is going to have get month to be 6. So for it to show July, it has to be 6 plus 1, that's July. So that's where we have what current month, which is 7. When something is an array, it uses index number. An index number starts from 0. Okay, so that's it. I think there's also get day. Let's see the get day too. Get day. Yeah. So let's look at how that is. Okay. Look at the difference between current day and current day using get date and get day. Okay. So for this first one, get day. Get day. What's today? Today is what? 12. That's why it's bringing out 12. Okay. But when you use get day, so this is counting Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So the counting starts from Sunday. So this is more like an array. Yeah, 0 to 6. So Sunday, because I'm recording this video on Sunday, that is why Sunday is 0. Okay, that's why Sunday is 0, Monday is 1, Tuesday is 2. So these things, they all behave like an array or an array. So you can get the hours, you can also get the minutes, you can get seconds. So you can just play around with all these things. Current hour, that's 15. So it's counting from like it's using 24-hour clock. So 15 means 3 o'clock. That's 3. Then 49 minutes. That's 3:49. And the second at that time it was 28 seconds. So all these things are very useful. As smart as they are, they're very useful. Now let's even play around with these things. Let's do something. Const. I can say, okay, let's do this before I experiment with what I want to do. So you can see the first one we did here, there was nothing inside. Okay, so if there's nothing inside, it's going to give you the current date. But this now, you can impute a date there. So it's going to give you that specific date. So let's refresh. Specific date. Monday, January, and stuff like that. Okay, there's something I'm looking for. I think it's at the top. Okay, let me see. To local date string. I think that it's going to remove all these GMT, West African time, I guess. Oh no, that's not it. To local. I'm trying to remember this. It's to what? Is it to local date? Okay. To local date string, give 1/1/2024. There are different types. Let me look for another one. That's to local date string. I can say to string. Yes. Uh, that's to string. Okay. You can just play around with all these things. Was it to string we did before? Okay. I didn't get that. So I just play around with all these things. Okay. Let me just go to what I'm going to do before. Okay, let's play around with this. I'm going to do this const months. So I have January. Da, 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 da. So now we want to get the current month. Because the one we did before, it just showed us 7. Okay. But we want it to tell us that it's July. So this is how you're going to do it. You list out all the months. Then you say current month. It's going to pick it, get month. So let's refresh it. So the current month is what? July. We can do the same thing for week. I can say const week. So current day. So remember this day that we used the current day. Like give us 0. So this time around it's going to select Sunday. So refresh. So our current day, which is what? Sunday. So we can even do, let's say, this interesting part. We can say week in Yoruba. Wow. Week in Yoruba. Ọjọ́ àìkú, ọjọ́ ajé, ọjọ́ ìṣẹ́gun, ọjọ́rú, ọjọ́bọ̀, ọjọ́ ẹtì, ọjọ́ àbámẹ́ta. So we can check it out. And say console current day in Yoruba. So we can see ọjọ́ àìkú, that's Sunday. So you can do the same thing for, let's do for month sef. Const month in Yoruba. Oṣù Ṣẹrẹ, oṣù Èrèlé, oṣù Ẹrẹ́nà, oṣù Igbe. So let's do that also. Console. So that should give us what? When oṣù Kíni? Ṣẹrẹ is January, Èrèlé, oṣù Ẹrẹ́nà, Igbe, oṣù Èbìbí, Ògùdù, oṣù Agẹmọ, oṣù Ògún, oṣù Ọ̀wẹ̀wẹ̀. Let's check. Is what? Oṣù Agẹmọ. So right now, oṣù Agẹmọ. So you can see how interesting JavaScript is. You can see it's getting more interesting, right? Yeah. So that's for objects. I think we've covered enough. Yeah. Yeah. So that's all for this